Good evening and welcome to episode 2 of 2020. As far as the Frontrunner Football Podcast is concerned, we're about to get into what's happened in the last 72 or so hours and, of course, all the news surrounding local football as we have a few stories on the menu. Kaizer Chiefs obviously increasing their gap at the weekend with a strong result against Cape Town City. Sundowns are in the quarterfinals of the CAF Champions League with 2 games to spare. Ellis bags another CAF Award, and we'll discuss briefly why Danny Jordaan wants a third term. He initially said he only wanted one. He's in his second. Now he wants number 3. So that's a bit of I don't know. Take that any way you want. But we'll discuss that with my panel that is made up of John T. Mark. I've got Mazola Molefe and Christopher Bongo joining me in the studio this evening. I haven't seen you two gentlemen.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy.
2020 visions.
20
20 plenty, okay.
That's
I
nice.
haven't heard that one before. Gents, let's start with the half centurions, I guess. It's 50 years that they're celebrating, and the celebrations have come with some good form. Beating Highlands, and then next up against Cape Town City, 3-0 against Rickarinks Chargers. I mean, I guess you can't spell inconsistency without CTC. So Cape Town City in this situation, showing it again. I mean, the coach says they've done well because they've got a draw, a loss, and a win. How do you see that one, John T?
It's
Before we touch on
definition
Chiefs.
of inconsistency.
Yeah, this is what it sounds like to me. But do you think they're too good to go down?
Oh, we've heard that before.
Mhm.
But I think that losing to Chiefs, there's no real shame in that. They created some chances, but they weren't exactly dominant. And from 1-0 down, and then obviously the 2 goals came very quickly. And then that was that. But I think that for City, it's obviously Benny McCarthy wasn't the whole problem.
Right.
And they have issues. I think they are. They won't go down because there are too many teams worse than them in this league.
City.
Cape Town City. But
We said that about Ajax.
You reserve your comment.
No,
we said that about Ajax,
I don't think
and
they'll go down.
they went down.
I don't think they'll
Because
go
that season there were a lot of teams, several teams that were
That looked like they were going to be...
that were even worse than Ajax.
Right.
And Ajax still
Still
got
went down.
eliminated, Yeah. And
Okay.
I suppose the whole Ndoro thing also
Yeah,
threw
they
a
did have
spanner in
that.
the works, but still,
They
were still relegated. Look, it might sound strange or weird or what have you, but whether people hammer me for this or not, on the surface of it, sitting there at FNB Stadium watching the game, in terms of passes linking up, Cape Town City we're better. Cape Town City we're better. I don't think.
Better than Chiefs or better than you've seen them play recently?
No, I'm saying better than Chiefs in that. I know we're talking overall their form. I mean, they've been awful. I think their best result was when the coach was hired and watched from the stands, and they won. They beat Baroka 5-3. Was it Polokwane City or Baroka? One of the Polokwane teams, and they beat them 5-3. And Jan was watching from the stands.
Right.
He was not in charge of that game, so
It
that
was
can't.
Polokwane City, I think.
Yeah, that cannot go under his belt. As far as I'm concerned, he's won 1 in 5 or 6. But I'm saying, watching them yesterday play against Chiefs, in terms of link-up play, they were better. It's just that they were awful in the final third, and they couldn't deal with the high balls. I mean, if you give Chiefs set pieces and corner kicks, they're gonna punish you,
Right.
Because they've got they've got gladiators in the box. Vukovic, Castro, Matoho, Cardoso.
Right.
They've got those guys who can bulldoze and bully you in the box.
And they got people like Manyama and Maluleka who can deliver.
Exactly. If you don't deal with that, and I think also their problem was that in that game, their strengths. So how do you not prepare for it? How do you not deal with it? And the coach after the match was saying, no, the way of dealing with it was close the first man on the ball to make the cross. And if he makes the cross, then you've got bodies in the box to deal with that. Not gonna happen. But overall, look, I'm still not convinced. And that's the other thing we were discussing yesterday with a few journals, that when you looked at his CV, and I think Cape Town City were kind of polishing the CV a little bit. it looks like he was the assistant coach. Because he's got a glowing CV, you know, Galatasaray, this
Right,
in the Netherlands or whatever. But it sounds like, from what I'm hearing, he was the assistant coach. He wasn't the actual head coach.
Right.
Just
You
like
know.
Arteta.
What?
Arteta was an assistant coach. Now he's a coach, and
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they glossed it up, you know, and I think it's coming out. Maybe look, it's still too early, but with a team like that, I think they've got enough in the tank
Sure.
to they shouldn't be losing some of the games that they've lost. Yes,
Right,
okay,
yeah.
Kaizer
Okay,
Chiefs, you kinda write it off to say log leaders.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
confident, they'll probably
Momentum.
even if you got a few goals, they'll probably still bounce back and beat you anyway.
Yeah.
you know,
but they haven't solved their problem yet. The problem is still they're considering a lot of goals.
absolutely,
And in
absolutely.
Against Kaizer Chiefs, you consider 3 goals.
Yeah.
Whereby when you look at the same Kaizer Chiefs play against Highland Park, it was not the same type of attacking molding like they did against Cape Town City. Listen, Cape Town City, they won't be relegated. That is my point.
Are you
They-
willing to put your head on the block?
No, they are good enough for them. I said it before. Polokwane City and Cape Town City, they won't be relegated. Baroka and Black Leopard, they will fight relegation and play.
Playoffs, yeah.
That's going to be the. Even Stellenbosch, I'm not even seeing Stellenbosch being relegated.
Oh,
Be-
they've turned it around.
because
They
I-
were my pick for relegation,
Relegation,
but
yeah.
I
jeez.
thought they would, but
So my pick's still Baroka.
Yeah.
Yes, it looks like they looked good this weekend, but they don't have material. They don't have an organization
Yeah.
the way they are going. Cape Town City, like you said rightfully, if you look at the game itself, the result was bad.
Right.
But the game that they play is not a team that will get relegated.
Yeah.
Close the defense. Let's just
Yeah.
the defense be close.
Yeah.
Polokwane City in big trouble, and the trouble keeping continuing a little bit, but they are much better than Black Leopard and Baroka.
And what do you make of Kaizer Chiefs' style? Because people speak about, like, you know, style over substance, but I'm like, they're getting results. People will say the football's not attractive, but they're top of the table.
I think it's
the machine moves on
really time to stop
with that.
Thank
huh?
you.
having a go at Chiefs' style.
Yeah.
I mean, they've scored more goals. Sorry, they've scored like 9 more goals than anyone else in the whole league.
Right.
They finding the back of the net. They're solid at the back, which is obviously
Clean sheet,
also
yeah.
key. They keep keeping clean sheets. They might not play like a Barcelona ticky-tacky Mamelodi Sundowns even.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to look at it purely from an aesthetic point of view, Mamelodi Sundowns are the best team to watch.
Right.
In the PSL, they're wonderful to watch. But Chiefs are
The top team.
effective. They have, 41 points? Like,
Yeah.
they are bringing home the 3 points. Even against Supersport, when they lost, they should have won that game. They hit the bar 3 times. You know, they could
Yeah.
easily have won that game.
And
on
funny
one
enough,
day.
Ernst, after the game yesterday, he said, you know, we had a busy period. We played
He
3
said
games
the best
in 9
game we
days,
played
and the
was
best game,
Supersport.
the best game we played was against Supersport. You know, and I fully agree. They were value for money.
Right.
You know,
Even though the result didn't go their way.
yeah.
I mean, just for people who are watching and to continue what John T has said, we have to be a little bit wise in our thinking. Kaizer Chiefs, the second best defense in the league. Match by match, they're the best defense because Bidvest has not played as much game.
Yeah.
Secondly, they're the best attacking team.
Yeah.
So you can attack them in different points. I was speaking to some Chiefs supporters 2 days ago. They hate Akpe. They want
But
Kunebek.
that's
Kunebek.
nonsense. I'm sorry. He's doing
And then
well.
boom.
But based on
I
what now?
asked yesterday, I said, what is the story? I said, no, he just had a good game. I said, no, not one.
Yeah, it's not that. It's just one.
Have you seen your defense?
Yeah.
So look at what's happening, and what else do you want the guys to do? Yes, for me, I've got the problem with the coach when he starts playing with a 3 at the back and putting players that they cannot play as wing backs, making them. It makes the team look a bit weak. Listen, team, there is no team in the league at the moment who are solid mind-wise, attitude-wise, and they're effective in the way they start the game.
Right.
100%.
The game against Highland Park, I felt sorry for Highland Park. From the kickoff, it looks like they
Could have
wanted
been 6.
every ball. They wanted to win every ball. They
Right.
attacked.
6.
Highland Park looked unfit. So this season,
Which is strange, also considering
Strange,
who's
yeah.
coaching
oh,
the
and
team. You know?
thank you.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, but can you go the distance? You know, sometimes teams are peaking too early, and then it catches up with them because their injuries now are seemingly are starting to catch up with Highlands.
Look,
Yeah.
I think in that game also, Chiefs were also playing for the result and the occasion. I mean, you can't have
sure.
the chairman cutting the cake at halftime.
Yeah, no,
training,
for sure.
You know, so they were both playing the occasion, and they were playing because they wanted points, because they were trying to bounce back from the Super Sport United defeat. You know, and when you
It was a bad day for Highlands
exactly,
Park.
you know, it was a bad day for
To play
Highlands
Chiefs,
Park
yeah.
to
To play
play
Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
I think on any other day, you know, most teams could have possibly lost against that Chiefs side.
Yeah.
They were determined. They were like Chris is saying.
Yeah,
They were
a lot of factors were in their favor.
exactly.
that
They were
day.
keen to win every ball.
Every
At
ball.
some point, I thought they were gonna get 6. You know, Highlands Park. You know, as fit. I think they probably one of the fittest teams.
But you know, my
in
worry
the
with
league.
Chiefs is they're doing so well without Kama Billiards.
Why is that a worry?
Because the Chief supporters, Kama Billiard was the
Yeah.
story of the beginning of the season. Is he going to Mamelodi
sure.
Sundowns?
Yeah.
Is he going overseas? We need him. We want him. And we keep on telling them, Kaizer Chief, they've got, I mean, listen,
Yeah.
they've got players, they haven't even kicked the soccer ball and
For sure,
got in
James.
transfer.
They
They don't, and that's healthy.
Very healthy.
They don't.
Yeah.
It's healthy, yeah.
For us, it's healthy, but for the people who have been saying, oh, the fake coach that they had before, what's his name before Miderndorp,
Yeah,
who said,
Solinas.
I had the 10 players with Kama
Solinas,
Billiards.
yeah.
Solinas, yeah.
So suddenly the 10 players are doing better than
Yeah.
your sole star.
But I mean, that's
Milkovic
better.
has what, 8 goals?
Yeah.
Castro has 7.
9.
Has
Milkovic
9.
scored his
9.
9th yesterday.
Castro has 7.
7.
7. Yeah.
Between them,
They've got a very potent
that's
strike.
title
I think
winning
it is,
stuff.
they've
I
got
mean,
a good
that's-
competition
If
going
you've got
on.
one striker scoring 9-10 goals at this stage of the season,
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
good.
the competition
unless
is
you're
good.
Orlando Pirates and leaking goals like hell at
Yeah.
the other end.
Yeah.
But I mean,
You have Zuma
and
comes
so
in.
combined with a solid defense, that's title winning force.
Zuma chipping in whenever. he
When
can.
Zuma comes in,
He
it's
looks
like a new
lively.
player. And,
Yeah.
Zulu is playing good. And then suddenly there are names that I did not
I
hear.
think also
Sussman,
the
who's
Chiefs,
Sussman?
whoever did Chiefs recruitment, whether it's Bobby Motaung who comes in for a lot of stick or Ernst Middendorf, deserves
Well,
some
yeah. I
credit
mean,
this
they've got
season.
Walter Steenbok there, who came in
Because Nukovic
in
Came in
November. Ernst got there December 2018. Steenbok arrived at Chiefs November 2017. So and he's the head of the scouting department, and he's, I mean, you know him from the work that he done at Mamelodi Sundowns. You know,
Right.
several players that he's brought in. So between him, Bobby, and Ernst, I think
They've
the
done well, huh?
recruitment, with the exception of James Cote.
Cote,
but-
Right.
and maybe Kambole, who hasn't
Kambole,
really
maybe.
hit the
Yeah,
ground
but
running.
Kambole,
time.
I suppose you can't fault the scouting. We know the quality that he offers. He's just struggling to adjust.
But is Cote that bad? He hasn't even played.
He hasn't even played. Now he's
yeah, I mean,
injured.
someone
Who knows?
asked Ernst about Cote yesterday, and he said, "Look, he arrived here, and I just never saw enough
Mm. To justify.
He said, "I just never saw enough." I'm guessing he was, you know, and this is stretching it a little bit. I'm guessing he was a club transfer. You know, I think you know, because if the coach had backed him so hard that
Yeah.
I want him here, he would have at least given
Giving him a
few
good
games,
run, huh?
you
Yeah.
know.
Or,
Okay.
or when we played, what could happen is you bring a new player coming in and the team is doing well. So
I
it
don't
i-
think so.
it is
Chris.
a ro-
I just
it-
think
it-
I think he was a club signing.
You would have replaced whom?
And-
That's the question. Who do you
Yeah.
replace? If you even if you want to play
No,
him,
no. They. I think there's been enough opportunities for
Sure.
James to
Sure.
get a look in. I
Sure.
mean,
Right.
Katsande had suspensions and some
Yeah.
injuries, and at some point Katsande was not favoured at all.
Yes.
you know. And then you had Kieran Bakkers, who was injured for quite some time. He missed a
So you
couple of
put-
games.
That's what's left.
George Maluleka has been suspended and injured a
Right.
couple of
So
times.
he did
so
have
he
opportunities,
rotated
yeah.
that sort of position just amongst those three.
Instead of
Yeah.
bringing
Yeah.
him in.
Instead of bringing in James Cote, who
Yeah.
could have, and now they're probably gonna sign the new guy Anthony, who's a similar type player.
Right.
Kenyan.
Yeah.
Yeah, who's a free agent now from Zesco, I think.
Zesco.
He's also gonna come in there, and chances are he'll be rotated amongst those three. Why
Yeah.
couldn't he do that with James? So the
Well,
answer
Su-
is that
success is bad. When-
James
when-
was never good enough. I
He
think.
didn't see enough, and when you've got 41 points, you can come from a position of wealth.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I don't need you.
Authority.
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay, just let's keep it moving to the next one where Celtic put 4 past Leopards. Kevin Johnson not having the best of times. I mean, you know, he was.
Yeah,
it was a
I'm
tough
genuinely.
job, but
Yeah, I'm genuinely worried for Kevin. You know, the chairman Tidiela, he's trigger happy. He's trigger happy. I mean, Luke Amael was basically sent packing or whatever, amicably, or whether it was sour or whatever, for really for no apparent reason. If you look at the reasons given for his departure, you know, that the team manager was fiddling with his training schedule, this and this and this. I mean, there may be, as we know in South African football, and I personally think the chairmen and the owners of the club have all the right to ask questions about the selection of the team and whatever, you know. But there's a thin line between proper interference and just asking
and
inquiring and holding the coach accountable, you know. There's that, and then there's, you know, what other club bosses do. But I think that's just what happens when you fire a coach for no apparent reason. Look, I was delighted for Kevin to, you know, to get one of our own to get a job after, you know, what happened at Amazulu, and results aren't improving there either, you know. But you know, it's a tough job, you know, and I think Luke was getting onto something. You look at the results when Luke took over late September. I mean, they were inconsistent, but you could see, especially when their last game with him in charge against Pirates and whatever. They lost 3-1, but you could see, you know, and Kapinga was becoming the focus. People talking about him. They've got a good goalkeeper in Mendes as well, you know. So, but I don't know. 3 straight defeats. They're playing Chiefs again. You know, yes, they could raise their game a little bit to defend against Chiefs in the heat, but still.
But how do you play? How do you play Jima as a centre back? A guy with difficult to make decisions. We saw him in every single club that he went. He had a problem, and you play him as the last man in defense. Yeah. How do you play Jim in that position? And for me, Abubakar, I have not seen him much, but he was playing as a central midfielder. They did not just look like a team came in the game to play player by player. It was just all over the place.
But credits, on the other hand, to Coach Siema. Celtic just kind of floating around, you know, playing good football from time to time, disrupting things.
That's the thing about Celtic. Celtic, if you give them an opening, they'll punish you.
Yeah.
Because they are quick on the counter. Yeah. You know, their players understand each other. They have a serious goal threat.
They do.
If you give them an opportunity to punish you, they will.
They'll take it.
You know, the games that they've lost is when the opponent has just edged them a little bit, and they just don't find enough in the tank to see the game through. But if you allow them an opening, because they've got players that can deliver,
and they learned from Steve Campbell how to defend. They do defend quite very well in the way they do play. But we said it last week. Teams like Celtic, they fight to be in top 8. They're not a team that they want to go and win the league, and they don't want to fight relegation.
No, for sure.
They're in top 8. They sell 1 or 2 players. They're happy. They get players on loan. Life continue, and they're in a good position.
No, they are in a good position, and it's such a far cry from all those years where players were going on strike, and you know, so many.
By the way, they get paid now.
Look,
Surely.
I mean, obviously the stories have died down. You know,
so things are well.
It means that it must be back to normal.
Maybe.
Let's hope. Let's hope. Moving on to the next encounter. I'm going to link to a tweet here from Lufuno who says Polokwane City will be relegated automatically, and Baroka and Amazulu to fight for the playoffs. So I thought it was a good way to segue into Amazulu, who don't seem to
have made any step forward.
Exactly. We're looking here at a Super Sports side. Look, I watched this match. They were unlucky. I think they had like 3-4 chances, 3 of them on the post. But it's almost like it was a team playing with so little confidence that those chances didn't come through. I mean, Majoro had a chance, and Dooley had a chance. It could have been a draw.
They did hit the work, but then on the other hand, you can argue that Bradley Grobler missed
that weird
a
shot
chance that he would never miss
on
the other day before scoring the second goal. So it kind of tends to even itself out, and they're just not taking their chance, except for Ntuli, who but they're over reliant on him clearly.
When you look at this Amazulu side and you look at their result, you keep asking yourself, what is happening in football? Morton, all-time PSL player. So he's the Boysen, all-time football player from PSL. Ngopo in defense. Every single player here. Shewapia, for me, I think he won't finish next season there. He's too good for Amazulu. He need to move. He's a very, very good player. I think I'm seeing him at cheaper. He's gonna add more value at cheaper than playing at Amazulu. They don't use him as Majoro is in his last year contracts so Majoro is just let me pay.
So do they have a big job then to do there at Amazulu in terms of that squad? I mean, it sounds like it's a retirement home for quite a few players. And
it sounds like the Swallows in the old days.
Swallows, remember? The days of Swallows.
At the moment.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't be surprised if they have like the highest average age in their squad.
Look, one, if if they were to get relegated, they would have no choice but to offload. Because obviously, chances are the salaries are high. They'll probably have to do what Free State Stars did to fire everyone,
right,
and start
again
from scratch with players
MDC
from
players.
the academy or the MDC or what have you, or just find young talent or players that are willing to take pay cuts and that. If they do survive, then it's another. They've got serious work on their hands. Up front, I don't really know how good the new striker is. Obviously, I haven't seen enough. And they've been heavily reliant on Mboingintuli as well. So if they do survive, I don't think they'll keep Vukusic unless they decide, okay, have pre-season, start afresh, let's see what you can deliver.
A fair chance, a clean
fair
slate.
chance at least. But they would also be basing that on the work that he done at Polokwane City, really. The fact that he was there, he started this pre-season, and with that he helped them finish in the top 8 and what have you. But other than that, I mean, he's had ample opportunities, a number of games now, and even some FIFA breaks in between and the Christmas recess to try and work.
But do you really think a chairman, I don't know how chairman think here, you lose against SuperSport United, and is it a game in your board before the game that you expected to win?
Probably not.
Probably not. But when results,
but if the performances, it was good.
It was a good performance. I thought, when you look at the results, you think 2-0. You think, okay, I'm sure SuperSport were all over them. Then you watch the highlights. Then you see that Amazulu actually had chances in this match. You know what I mean?
I'm just assuming, going back to Mazola's point about the new striker, that's a Vukusic signing.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's a Slovakian and he's Slovakian.
Right.
Absolutely. And it's showing that the team is trying to support him.
Banks on the fact that this guy must now produce, or perhaps Vukusic is not good.
Time is running out.
He came in 61st minute, and I'm looking here, he has no action.
No, but obviously, you have to have some time to.
Based on my experience in South African change room, when you are new, it's not easy for you to receive that ball.
There's part of that, isn't it? The trust issue.
No, it's not easy.
Yeah, no.
Okay, didn't start, so maybe next game he's going to drop Majoro and play Ntuli and Lakshmi together.
Let's see.
What happens.
Let's see. Well, that's the one thing Vukusic will hope he can get right as far as the recruitment, and buy himself, like you say, some time to maybe see the season out and plan properly for the new campaign next time around. And then the next result sees Highlands, who back-to-back losses back-to-back victories for SuperSport, just to note. But Highlands losing 4-1.
Yeah, it was a huge defeat. I saw Highlands Park had to release a statement today denying that Owen had resigned.
Yeah.
Because there were all sorts of rumours, so they decided to put out a statement saying he hasn't resigned, he hasn't gone anywhere, the club are fully behind him.
Yeah.
But I mean, they can afford to lose some matches.
I think
depending on what the expectations are.
I think it would be ridiculous to fire Owen.
No, it would be.
I mean, after he's done what he's done at the club since he's been there the past 2 seasons, from winning the first division at a Canter, getting them to the top 8, and then getting them to the MTN 8 final.
Right.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they're still in the top 8.
No, they're still fine.
And they're still in the top 8. And look, they lost against Chiefs, who beat them on the opening day of the season. Okay, some of the results, you thinking, geez, they can't buy a game, but you can have a slump. Just as they had a purple patch, you can go through a bit of a slump. Yeah. And after, I mean, one of the reasons that Highlands Park had gotten relegated in the first place is because they fired Alan Fries after 4 games. After he promoted them. So if they get rid of Owen, then they haven't learned any lessons.
They won't fire him. I mean, based on the history of the club, I played for Highland Park under Owen de Gama. Larry will never fire Owen. The reason Larry actually got to get Highland Park to keep it, because he bought it out. Remember when he separated with the team, which became Platinum Star. The only reason he started the team, it was because of Larry. That's why he restarted Highland Park, and they went down. And of course, all the sponsorship is because of Larry. But this game, something happened. I don't know what's happened. 75% to 25% ball possession against Stellenbosch. and they had only one shot on target, where Stellenbosch had 4. Something happened in that game.
They're
Do you know,
getting
I think
tired.
after a result like that, there's always going to be a
Inquest and
kind of overreaction.
yeah.
And
Sure.
I think, they won their first game of the year against Leopards.
Mm.
Okay, they lost to Chiefs, who hasn't on some
Right.
level
Yeah.
this season.
Twice, the Chiefs beat them, but they played the
lost to
final.
Chiefs, but and then they were 2-1 down to Stellenbosch with 5 minutes left. Obviously, they were punting it, going for the
Looking for
going
a way
for the
to get in.
equaliser,
Yeah.
and then they got caught twice and lost 4-1, which looks bad, but they, you've got to really look at the game sort of realistically and say, well, as Mazola said, that Owen Dagama's done a fantastic job there.
And it was the best team they
He's
played.
got them up with a, at a canter, as Mazola said. He's got them in the top 8.
Yeah.
What do they want?
Yeah, for sure.
He's got them to the cup final.
For
and,
sure.
It'd be
and,
ridiculous.
No, look,
So
I
they
mean,
want-
but then
They
credit
want
to
to
them.
win the league because they're not going to.
I don't think it's that, but the credit to the
Yeah.
club for setting
Yeah.
out the statement,
Yeah.
because
I
obviously
think
it's like
that's
it's
great.
everyone else
Yeah.
thinking that and jumping to conclusions.
But I
whilst
also
we're
think it's
looking
the
at our coach.
climate, it's the PSL. I mean,
Yeah,
you see
yeah.
2 defeats in a
Yeah.
row, you're like, oh my god, okay, they're gonna. It looks horrible. 1-4 at home to Stellenbosch.
Yeah.
We
I think it's-
overthink
it's
things.
overreacting.
In the league, I mean, these guys, they know it very well. In the league, there are teams, like I said, bracket. This is championship teams. They
Right.
fight for championship.
Right.
These teams, they
Fight
fight
for
if they
top
can
8.
bet in the top 4, they're fine. If they get the CAF is good. And then you have teams that their target is to be in top 8.
Right.
And teams like Bluefontaine Celtic, teams like Highland Park, Polokwane City,
Right.
they want to be in top 8.
Right.
At the moment, Highland Park, will they finish in top 8? Probably. If you look at the forms of
Yeah.
Polokwane City, other teams, they still have to beat. So it can be good for the team as well to have a story talked about that Owen the Gamma resigned or gone. So we read about it, we talk about
Yeah,
it, there
for
is some
sure.
excitement, but no, Owen is Highland Park.
Yeah,
No,
it would be
pretty much.
ridiculous, Yeah.
I think so. And then what's changed for Stellenbosch? What do we attribute that to? I mean,
Yeah,
this is just a
it's-
case now of seeing that. Listen,
Yeah, it makes you wonder, hey,
Yeah.
because their form turned around even before the transfer window. They haven't brought anyone in,
Right, yeah.
I don't know. It just feels like maybe Stevie just changed a couple of tactics. I know that some of the players that were injured, struggling with injuries, did come back, and
Right.
I think it could have been an internal meeting to say, guys, we've made it this far. We need to retain our status. It could have been something internally that happened. Could have been, I haven't seen enough games to say, oh, he's changed so many
No.
tactics
Right.
and he's doing things
It-
differently.
For me is what we said when we closed the year. They play 15 games, they got 15 points.
Yeah.
In PSL, you get 30 points, you survive.
right.
So what happened is when they look at their planning of the season, they say we are on path what we said we should be, where we should be. Now, guys, let's make a bit of a push,
Yeah.
because in the beginning you'll be scared of losing games so that you're going to be
Sure.
relegated and everything.
Sure, yeah.
And
sure.
suddenly you played everybody.
Yes,
and
now you have a
you almost
measure.
know everybody, and
Exactly.
you start going. A point there is going to be good.
Yeah, and it says
Here is a
relax,
loss, yes, but
relax,
here we can
guys,
get our
yeah.
3 points.
Yeah.
So you start picking up.
It's actually
And
less pressure. It seems like
Highland
they play
Park,
with.
it was a game, a draw, beautiful game.
Yeah.
Away from home, a draw against Highland Park, perfect. But we just get extra 2 points. So they can go to the next game with their shoulder lighter,
Yeah.
because they've got 2 extra points that they can throw away.
Sure.
So that's
I
it.
think they would have looked at the first 3 games and been going, okay, Wits will probably lose that. They
Yeah.
lost that. They probably thought Celtic, we can get a win.
We
They
can-
lost that as well. So this is a massive bonus for
Yeah.
them.
It-
to get
So
the
they
3
feel like,
points.
you know what, we're not very far from where we're supposed to be. Out of 9, this team's supposed to beat us and get 1 point out of 9. We got 3. Perfect. Let's move to the game. So when your shoulder, as a player, you are feeling lighter, you start taking chances. The passes that you didn't want to make, you can make them. The shot
Right.
where you're supposed to take, you take them.
Right.
So all those stuff.
Because
plays.
even that the last few games of the 2019, that game against Sundowns,
Sundown.
where they lost, I think it was 1-0
Yeah.
the final score. They were decent, especially the first. That's why, like, out of character, Stevie was so angry in
Right.
his post match about
Right.
tackles, flying, red cards, and whatever, and the referee's decisions, because he felt genuinely up until
His
the
team
red
was
card,
negated.
they were
Team
in the
were-
game.
yeah, sure.
And to go to Loftus, play the defending champions, and match
Give them a run for their money.
run them close. it says something about the character of your team, and I think they've just carried on from that. I think he would have used that as a benchmark to say, if we can keep playing like this,
thank you.
We can meet lesser teams,
exactly, and give them a problem.
We can get a positive
Mobby,
result.
who was good at Free State Stars, came up with a goal and an assist, and he was good enough for Sundowns, but not apparently for Pizza.
Exactly.
It's a confusing one, but and they've got some good players there. Is the point.
This is something we can say about Maritzburg. It getting to the point where they realize he needs to stay, guys. Let's just open up. Let's play, and then the results start coming. So football is that funny.
Okay, and then Baroka getting themselves a victory with Dylan Kerr watching from the stands, meaning that Mazolo's not going to. These last two results don't belong to him, huh? Or what do you think? Do you think he's tinkered but not been on the bench?
No. Look,
prepare the team.
with Jan, my reference to that was the fact that he had been appointed that same day.
Yeah.
Right.
No, he did nothing.
So there's no chance that he would have effect.
No, sure.
Whereas Dylan. Dylan would have obviously been in charge the last two games, even if he wasn't set
on the bench. He would have at least.
So that's on him.
Listen, for me, the past 3 seasons, if Baroka survive, is good for them. But for me, I'm putting them as the relegation for the past 3 seasons. That is Baroka for you. They are not doing themselves a favor. They are not showing that they want to be in PSL. And because the bottom is so bad, you win one game, you go to number 12. It looks like you are safe, but.
It's very fluid, huh?
Yeah.
Because there's so many, well, not that many, I guess, points between the teams that results can change the fortunes of a side. Clinton Larson, I mean, you look at him coming into that Polokwane City side, thinking, and it's not gone. His results have not been.
What is his objective? The question that I always ask. I mean, maybe Majora and.
Look, I think it's pretty straightforward.
Survive this season.
So it is a survival. So if survival is your objective, it becomes easier. But when they start saying go to top 8, it becomes a problem because.
But you can't say that when you're bottom of the table.
I don't know.
Exactly,
Some chairman probably put so much pressure on you to say.
I highly doubt it. I mean, he arrived there. They'd lost 10 on the trot. I think they lost. Or they lost the 10th one while
and they got
there.
And then they got the results.
Yeah, So already I think Clinton would have walked into that already knowing that it's
survival.
It's survival. It's a difficult.
And
task,
he's good in that, huh?
So let's see if he'll pull it off. I'm with Chris on this. Was it you who mentioned that? The quality in the team.
Yeah.
Hence you picking them as your relegation candidates. I quite agree. I mean, they might do some business now, like they brought in Mahlasela, who will give them, a bit of an edge in attack going forward. I think he came on off the bench and you could see was a bit lively.
Right.
Hence Chipezeze was man of the match in that game. So maybe you could say Polokwane City unlucky not to get at least a point in that match because the keeper was so good.
Right.
But there will be tougher fixtures, to come. And can Clinton pull a rabbit out of a hat, to make sure they survive? It's going to be tough.
The thing is a proper bun fight. I mean, there's 2 points separating Stellenbosch in 11th from Polokwane at the bottom.
No, for sure, exactly. I mean, you look at it, it's 5 teams that are in the mix. Stellenbosch, Baroka, Cape Town City, AmaZulu, Black Leopards and Polokwane City. They're all sitting on 16, 17, 18 points.
And the bad thing about, like Major was saying about Cape Town City, the next game is against Bitfest.
Yeah. And Black Leopards are against Chiefs.
On the weekend.
That time, Black Leopards have a game in hand. So, but unfortunately for them, it happens to be the next game against Chiefs.
Yeah.
So,
Wits have the best away record in the league.
The best. For the past 2 seasons, I think. I don't know what they do away from home.
Yep. No, for sure. So, okay, there we go. In terms of those
teams. Main worry is Wednesday night because they're back at Bidvest Stadium where they barely win again.
I'm sure they don't want to be back there. They don't want to be back there. Let's keep it moving to the next result. It saw Chipa and Maritzburg playing to a 0-0 draw. Maritzburg in the ascendancy in this one, but Chipa, the home side, who maybe were looking to win the game, were pretty lucky maybe just to get away with a point.
There is something about Chipa. They won the ball. That is a good thing. When Chipa started, and we read it a lot from newspaper. They were playing lateral football, take the ball left to go right to go. They don't move forward. Now they start looking for those penetration passes and getting forward, getting the goals, and they are very, very comfortable with the ball. Yeah. And you can still see Marisbeek are still playing a worrisome football. They don't want to lose. And that is the dangerous situation. When a football team, they don't want to lose, you start having the opening. And I don't know. I know you leave Mamelodi Sundowns, you go to Marisbeek to score goals, you're not scoring goals, and your shoulder is dropping because he's worrying about his contract now. And he's thinking, will Mamelodi Sundowns take me again? I don't think so. Where will I go?
Where does he go? I mean, will
Marisbeek keep me? I'm not scoring. And so Marisbeek, they've got, and the players being on loan, it is a problem as well. You play for Marisbeek so that you can be sold. We have to be honest about it. You don't want to play in Marisbeek. You play there so you can be sold. Sure. So players are much more individualistic than being a team. But at the moment, my man Eric Sinclair, if it wasn't about the law of football, he is a contender coach of the season for me.
Right. Yeah, no, he's done well. He's turned the fortunes around. But do you think that Brocky is a player that, next season, do you think he's still a PSL player next season? Do you think he goes looking for new pastures? I mean,
it's going to be tough.
What's next for him?
Look, he could quite possibly still be a PSL player, but not the usual suspects.
Not at a marquee. He's not going to
be in the top half of the table.
Right.
Unless you never know. You become a free agent. One club asks you to come train with them so they can see, and then the coach likes you and then gives you a contract.
Right. Do you think it's his altitude as well?
No, I don't think so.
Playing in the sea level is not very good, and maybe you want to come back to.
I don't know. I'll tell you why I say I don't think so. Because it started way before
that is Highveld. That is Highveld.
But even at Supersport in his last few months, he wasn't scoring goals.
Yeah, exactly. So it started even before he's moved to Mamelodi Sundowns. So he's been. Okay, obviously dipped even further because then he was not getting any game time whatsoever.
Right. So you can't even correct the mistakes as a player and get the confidence up.
And also what I found weird is that, he went to a team where, before he joined Sundowns, Eric was already starting to sideline him because there were issues there because he wanted to leave. So he goes to a coach that they didn't part on the best of terms, but I think in the best interest of the club, then you bring Brokey in to try and,
you put your differences aside.
So will he be, in the PSL next season? Possibly, but like you said, not as a marquee signing. Unless, like case in point, Etuke Laurenti, who out of nowhere suddenly found himself at Mamelodi Sundowns and was given a 3-year contract, which he has since walked away from. But it could be the case for Brokey, but he's 32 this year. 33 midway through the next season. So you start to think he hasn't scored a goal in nearly 2 years, or maybe 1 or 2 goals in nearly 2 years. Will he be value for money?
Sure.
And obviously he's on a high package. It's on the record that he's on a high package. We might not necessarily know the figures, but his agent has said that he's on a high package. And will he take a pay cut? Will he go back home?
How many years are left on his Sundowns contract?
I think he's got an option.
Okay.
I think he's got an option. I have to check, but I think because I did a story on it last year, just in the build up to whether he'll stay at Sundowns or not.
Right.
And it's 2020, and then he's got a 1-year option at Sundowns.
Okay.
But obviously the option is really up to the club whether they take up that option or not. So at this rate, with Ali Meza, with Mauricio Afonso, with Pizzo possibly signing another striker like he said in the January window.
Why would you stick with Brocky for another season?
Why would you take up the option and just frustrate him even further? Just cut ties. I think.
The best thing would be to release him, so he's a free agent.
Exactly. And I think when he's a free agent, he's much more of a viable option for anybody else.
Of course, there's no transfer fee.
Didn't Castro went to a dry spell as well at Kaizer Chiefs?
Yeah, he did.
Last season,
Castro was on his way out. Yeah, Castro was on the transfer
before
list.
Castro went to Chiefs, he had a prolific record at Sundowns.
He
had something to back it. I mean, Brocky had a prolific record at
Supersport,
but the next level he didn't quite make it.
Yeah, and Pizzo had wanted him long before that. You know, I think it's just a coincidence that by the time they signed him, he had gone through a dry spell.
Right.
Because it is very, very tough in any position in the field. It's not as hard as a striker when you go 2, 3, 4 games without scoring. And I saw Castro. Castro his shoulder was inside.
Relieved. He's a relieved man.
Now scoring goals, I think this season. Last year scored 1 goal. The season
Yeah.
before with Steve, he scored another 1 goal. It's just,
Look, Castro was on the transfer list in July.
Yeah.
well, we knew he was going,
You
and
know, he was on the transfer list in July, and obviously the club he still had one year contract, wanted a heavy settlement, and the club couldn't really agree terms with whoever was interested, and he asked to keep training, to keep fit, and I think then Ernst saw something. I think his attitude changed, his character and all of that, and he's back in the team scoring goals. Who would have thought?
Well, who would have thought? Maybe
Football
things
is
can
tough.
still turn around for Jeremy Brockie as we reflect on those last of the Premiership matches. Well, let's look ahead. The big one that's coming up now. Orlando Pirates versus Mamelodi Sundowns. For Sundowns, simple mandate, must win, 3 points, keep the pressure on Chiefs. Orlando Pirates, they'll be up for it, and to be honest, they look a whole different proposition under Jay-Z, you know?
Yeah, look, obviously early doors, 3 games against teams that obviously are much lower on the table than Mamelodi Sundowns. I actually asked the coach today whether he thinks this will be, a real test for him.
Yeah, the most stern test so far.
In his tenure so far. And he sort of agrees, that we're playing the reigning champions. We don't have a good history against them in terms of goals conceded. And he's obviously looking to impress as well.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally said we've got nothing to lose. So I think he's gonna go gung ho. He's probably gonna throw everything at them. Mango is in good form. He's scoring goals. The problem, as we said earlier, is at the back.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like they're gonna sign a centre back. Yes, there's still a couple of days more in the transfer window, but I think it will be impossible to get any of their targets in.
for sure. January is very
their
difficult
best
for
chance is
quality.
to recall a couple of players who are on loan, who are defenders, to see if that could work. But if that was the case, I think they would have recalled them by now to start the year early.
Yeah, exactly.
To see the coach can work with them and blood them in. So I think it's probably going to stay as it is in terms of, for us.
but something hasn't changed for me in Orlando Pirates. It is the timing when they concede their goals. I think 87% of their goals been conceded from 65th minute to the 90th minute.
Yeah.
And even though they score 4 goals, they still concede goals in that area of time. What is the problem? It might be in the mind. If he goes with this, is Orlando Pirates a good team to watch? For me, I love watching Orlando Pirates playing because it looks like when they've got the ball, they move the ball very well.
Right.
But playing 3 at the back, Mahela, Jele, and Nyauza, I think you cannot go against Mamelodi Sundowns, which this lineup at 3 at the back. They will kill your wing players, Pule and Mabaso, and you will concede against Mamelodi Sundowns. So I hope he did his job. Super Sport United to show Kaizer Chief you don't play 3 at the back because you will be punished in our football. In African football, it is often 4-4-2. We try to complicate it. I don't know why.
It's a new style. Everyone loves
But
the
those
roaming
new styles, the
wing-backs.
team that they play that way, they always get punished often. Mahela, Jele, and Nyauza in defense. As a centre back, you leave the 2 wings open.
Yeah.
And what you're saying, what are you telling Mamelodi Sundowns?
No, for sure. Attack. Get him behind there. Okay, well, that's going to be an interesting one. Any predictions, gentlemen, as to how that one will pan out?
Sundowns will win. It'll be a high-scoring win. I think Pirates will get a goal or 2, but Sundowns will win. Sundowns have too much for me in terms of the fact that Pirates are too vulnerable at the back, as we've discussed.
Right. And a lot more
And Sundowns
cohesion,
might
I guess.
even sit in and wait and let Pirates attack them and then just hit them. And I don't know if Zinbauer can have fixed Pirates' serious problems on the counter-attack in the short space of time he's been there, because they were hideous under Rulani Mokoena on the counter.
Sure. And Mango looks
Sundowns
good.
will just pick them off. Mango is the sort of...
But it looks
tricky.
good for a
He's the
specific
joker in the
reason.
pack, 'cause he-
When teams they try to play high felt, and the Mango is quite quick, and they just in your shoulder makes a run, and then it goes 1-1 with the goalkeeper away. It's
Right.
very good. The same thing he did when he was playing for Vets, going wide. Mamelodi Sundown, too experienced, too calm, and they're not adventurous. That's why Mamelodi Sundown don't score in every game. No, there are games that goes 0-0, 1-0, because players, they stay and
Discipline.
they're very, very disciplined.
And I think also the fact that Sundowns now they're in the quarterfinals of the Champions League.
Sure.
That is
that.
talk a lot about wanting to win the group, but they don't. If you want to win the Champions League, you've got to beat whoever you're playing.
Exactly.
So it doesn't really matter on some level.
Yeah.
So they can now completely focus on the league,
again.
and I think that will bring an extra concentration to their game, and I think that they'll feel the strongest possible team, and they'll win.
I'm worried. I think this game is going to be a draw.
A draw.
2-2 draw.
2-2 draw.
Is that what you're saying?
I'm hoping for goals. If you put me on the spot for a prediction, I'm hoping for a high scoring. I think it could be a high scoring
To
draw.
be fair, it's become the most exciting game on the PSL calendar because the derbies tended to be a bit boring over the years, and it's become like the game where there are usually a lot of goals and a lot of excitement.
It is a highly, highly anticipated game. Very big fixture for many reasons. Many reasons,
Well, let's see. I mean, a lot of things could change because, I mean, for Kaizer Chiefs, I think for them, they're probably trying to re-establish a double-digit lead at the top of the table. But Orlando Pirates, in essence, by beating Mamelodi Sundowns, could help Chiefs along to the title.
Well, for Sundowns, I mean, they've also got SuperSport in the Shrine Derby.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a big week for them. If they
Sure.
win both
Very,
those
very,
games,
very
they can
tough.
really
Very
make
tough.
a statement.
But last time we were with Ian Goa here, and he made quite a good point. He said, Mamelodi Sundowns, Pirates go through Mamelodi Sundowns, don't discount them for a top 3 in PSL because the material is there.
Material is there.
The material is
And
there.
there's a new lease on life with the coach,
Don't discard them for top 3.
Yeah, there is a less pressure, it would seem, at Orlando Pirates.
You beat Mamelodi Sundowns. Look at what happened to Kaizer Chiefs beating Mamelodi Sundowns. Immediately, everything changes. You beat Mamelodi Sundowns, you know you are in to win it. So.
Sure. Okay, well, yes, you're right. It could revive some sort of a photo finish for the league if Pirates get one over Sundowns. So high scoring draw. Chris, what did you say?
I'm going for a draw in this game.
Draw
I don't
as
know
well.
if I'm going for a draw. Listen, it on paper it looks everything clear. Mamelodi Sundowns, they will charge. Pitcher knows how to tweak things to get a result.
Right.
It need to get a result. Beat Vets, I need to win it as well. I love Vets. Nobody talks about
I'm
Vets.
climbing off the fence that these two gentlemen appear to be sitting on, and I'm saying Sundowns.
Sundowns victory. Okay. Speaking of Sundowns victories, that's exactly what they got in the African Champions League. When, in terms of just now with 2 games to spare, it's the point that you've just made now is that they have full focus on the league, but they've done very well, very professional to buy themselves that wiggle room.
In any competition, group stages, there are one thing that you need to do, and I keep on saying this to many people: win your home games. That's all you have to do. Win your home games. Anything happen away from home, it is a great bonus.
Right.
Mamelodi Sundowns did it. Esperance has done it, and the TP Mazembe have done it. They won all their home games.
Right.
Actually, the record now, if I checked, it is Mamelodi Sundowns, El Ali, and TP Mazembe equal at home in the past 3 seasons Champions League.
Right.
They only one draw for all of them, and the wins win. That's why they're always there. Great result. Great result.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, and then based on the results and the way they're playing, is that still a serious concern for them in terms of like, that's another competition where we want that trophy as well.
Oh, yeah.
And now, obviously, with this, getting to the next stage, 2 games in hand, you can now actually just plan and compartmentalize almost. Focus on the league, and then when you're out the group stages into the next round, you actually have done enough in the league to now focus on that. I mean, it fits into their balancing act quite well.
Yeah, and I think things are also different this time around with the calendar as well.
Yeah, the same time, everything.
Everything is played around the same time. You have a CAF fixture this week. You have a league fixture. It's not, you don't wait. You're not playing catch up. I mean, look, both them and Chiefs have played the
Equal
same number of
yeah.
games now. Obviously, after Wednesday, they would have played.
Sundowns have played one less, but you're right. After the Pirates game, it's equal.
It'll be the same.
Exactly. So it's. I think it's better to plan this time around. And look, they've got the heavy artillery. I mean, it was last year in the build up to the TKO final where Coach Mangoba was talking about, it baffles them how they've not won the Telkom knockout for so long when, the amount of recruitment that they do. the number of good players that's in the squad,
Right.
you think that they are walking the championship and the domestic cups, ever so
Yeah, it
often,
is
instead of taking so long to win a domestic cup.
Right.
So I think it's easier to plan now, and they are no strangers to this sort of setup. They know that the big trophies for them every season is the Champions League and the league title.
And I was thinking about the Champions League. The idea was to win your group, because who you're going to play next. Let's look at the teams that are already qualified. Regardless if you finish in top of your log or you finish second, you are playing
Top
top
teams.
tough teams. And
Right.
unfortunately, I think 4 of them all come from North Africa. Only Tip Mazembe and Mamelodi Sundowns, they are in Sub-Saharan Africa. So it is tough. But the thing is, there is a kind of aura created by Mamelodi Sundowns in the continent, like Orlando Pirates had 4 seasons ago, that when you play Mamelodi Sundowns, you have to be in the top form.
Sure.
So everybody expects to beat Mamelodi Sundowns.
Right.
So Peter can't relax.
There we go. But it's great training because you're playing against such top opponents. You bring that form into the league, and you could now.
And they still have
exert
Kennedy
pressure.
Mwene, who was not playing.
Yeah. No, I mean, they have depth for days, and let's see. Like you say, maybe by the end of January, we might see new faces over in Klerkop, just to bolster for this war on 2 fronts.
I am against that, though. I think he's going to mess up the...
When's
Yes, sir.
Nascimento coming back?
He's back. He was on
He's
the
back.
bench.
Oh,
He was on the bench.
So, yeah, there we go.
You don't want to bring new player
Yeah.
now for a team that does not need it. It's like Kaizer Chief bringing a new player now.
You could argue. I mean, it goes both ways.
Yeah, it's
you
just
know?
depth, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
it just
you're not
goes
bringing
both
in-
ways. I mean, you talk about Chiefs. Chiefs could strengthen. I mean, James didn't work out. They probably if he,
No, they are replacing.
yeah, if they
like for like.
offload, yeah.
But a team like Mamelodi Sundowns, to buy who, to put who in the bench.
Yeah, I mean that's why Pito said when he was talking about bringing in a striker, he said I can't bring in if I can't find a striker of, to borrow from his words, a knowledge Musona caliber, then I probably shouldn't bring one.
Yeah.
Because he's gonna sit on the bench.
Sure, exactly.
Because if I bring a striker in, he has to be as good
Working.
as Afonso. He has to be as good as Lebo Mabue. He has to be as good as Ali Meza.
Yeah.
He has to be as good as Temba Zwani.
Sure, he has to unseat who's there.
So if
Vilakazi now is scoring.
Vilakazi, if he's is not as good or better, then you can't. There's no point in signing him, which is why he lamented the fact that Tukelo didn't grab his chance. 'Cause
Right.
he was talking about Tukelo's pace.
Yeah.
You said especially in these games where some of the players are a bit lethargic,
Right,
with
yeah.
the traveling
Conditions
and
and
whatever.
whatnot, yeah.
I bring in Tukelo with his pace.
With
He
a
could have.
spark, yeah.
Matlambi as well. He's
Exactly.
bad luck for those fast players. Matlambi is
Exactly,
supposed to be
he's
that
always
player.
injured as well. So you could have looked to a Matlambi to say, okay, I can play him in number 9 on the wing, whatever. But he's constantly injured.
Yeah.
So I think Pito could probably only sign a player if he's as good as those, but he'd have to pay big money for that.
Yeah. Well, I guess, you know what, if there's a squad that doesn't really need to reinforce, I guess it's Sundowns, but they have the luxury of being able to at the same time.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Wits, who lost 2-1, winless so far in their Confed Cup. But it's weird because I feel like there was a stage when it was looking good for Wits, before they got into the group stages, and they looked like they were taking it seriously. They looked like they were, giving it a real go. But then to be sitting winless and bottom of their group.
Look, I think what gave away that impression almost is the fact that they had not played in so long. So Gavin was just playing his strongest team because he needed them to get game time.
Right.
Yes.
And they were
Yeah.
scoring goals. I mean, Mutupa scored 4 goals the
Yeah.
one time to help them progress into the group stages.
Yeah.
But now that they are playing catch up,
Sure,
he's
sure.
probably trying to do a balancing act now. Now he must rotate now because
Yeah.
he needs players to be fitter because the target really is the championship
Right.
at home.
Yeah, I think
rather
he's
than
kind of
the-
given up. On
You
the-
know, so I
But
think
he was in the...
on the
because
continent.
people
Guys,
are
he
look-
was in a tough group.
Yeah.
You can,
Yeah.
against
It was a
Orowa,
difficult group,
it's
but they're
very
Al
difficult.
Nazira with a team you would hope to get 6
Yes, that's the
points.
only
That's
team.
the thing, and he got
I
one off
regret
them.
when the
Having done that, I think that's curtains. So
against Joliba here, Vets have something like 20 opportunity of scoring minimum 5 goals,
Right.
and they still drew that game 0-0. And we have to be honest. Gavin wanted to win those games.
Right.
It's not like Gavin gave up. He didn't.
No.
He was very upset.
He was
with his
excited
players.
about the run towards the end of December.
I remember him when he was in Super
Mm.
Sports. I think it was semi-final. They were playing against Esperance. He got very upset because Esperance wanted to sit in the side of Super Sport, and he really wanted to win something in the continent because locally, what else can he want to win that he has not won?
Yeah.
So I feel for Gavin that he did not do. I thought he would go at least in the group stages. I mean, in knockout stage.
Knockout stage as well. That's not the case. But let's end on a lighter note there as far as the CAF Awards are concerned. With Desiree Ellis bagging another award for winning Kasafa and, qualifying for the World Cup.
Come on.
She's...
Chris, what?
Chris? You're not impressed?
No. The first
Oh,
one.
that's a first.
No, I'm not. I know in South Africa, people might look at me. I keep on saying it all the time. The fact that we keep on giving this award, we are forcing our women football not to go forward. We need so much. Desiree, she's young. Go and study and learn how to be. She's very passionate. She's my colleague. We work together, including him. But I sincerely believe this award, it was bad for what Desiree can achieve, what South African football can achieve.
Because you feel like you've arrived when you get
Of course.
an
Listen,
award like this.
we qualify in the World Cup not because we won the trophy, guys. We came second, and the law changed that the top 3 teams will go to the World Cup, or the top 2 teams will go to the World Cup.
Right.
We go to this tournament to win them. South Africa is good enough to start winning, guys. It's not. You cannot win COSAF and then celebrate it. No. The 11 countries that play COSAF, I think only 2 of them can have a professional team, even for male. So, guys, come on. Why South Africa is not winning African Cup of Nations? Give me one reason. Because we don't have good coaching.
I thought we were ending it on a lighter note.
I
but
thought so too.
That wasn't.
I am passionate about women football. I
Right.
spent 5 years
Yeah.
working in Africa, FIFA women football in Africa. 5 years. And when you go through the continent, South Africa have no excuse. No excuse.
Right.
Actually, I know the latter not where we will go. We're supposed to have a rule in South Africa, every single football club in South Africa to have women team.
Doesn't happen.
You're right. It probably should be the case. But I feel like
So why are we celebrating because we came
But
second?
CAF are celebrating her.
No, because they have nothing to do.
There's no one else to give the award to.
Look, Kevin
Is that what you're
celebrating.
saying?
Look, they did qualify for the World Cup, and I think she deserves credit for that. They didn't, and they performed against teams that proceeded way above them.
Look, Chris
they
got a
fought
point.
hard.
Chris got
They
a point,
didn't
right?
qualify for the Olympics,
Also,
but I think she deserves credit.
in him making his point, and he's obviously his strong views on, and it's not just isolated to this award. It's just women football in general, and
Right.
possibly even SA football in general. But I think it is taking away some gloss from the fact that Desiree did receive this award, and look, she should be celebrated.
Right.
But I think what Chris is also saying is that
This shouldn't be the
don't rest.
height.
Don't
of what we
think.
celebrate.
Don't suddenly now think you've arrived.
Yeah.
You've got to do it again. You've got to qualify for the World Cup again. You've got to win the women's AFCON. You've got to
You gotta win.
forget COSAFA. You've
Yeah.
done it so
Let's
many
win.
times.
Let's win.
Yeah.
Instead of celebrating qualifications.
You know what killed me? We did it with I think it was under 17. We went to the African Cup of Nations, and then immediately when we get to the quarterfinal, everybody's talking about no, we just need to win this game to go to the World Cup.
we need to win
Guys,
the
we
tournament.
are in the tournament.
Yeah.
Win the tournament. Yeah.
What happened about winning this tournament?
No, for sure.
When we qualified to the semi-final of AFCON, AFCON, everything was about the World Cup. I say, guys, we're playing Nigeria in the final. Can't we win the final? Forget the World Cup.
Right.
Let's win the final.
Let's
But
focus
in
on
the
here
same
and
breath,
now.
then
Yeah.
you've got to apply the same standard to the men's team and say that it's not good enough that the South African men's under 23 team have qualified for Tokyo 2020. They should have won the tournament.
We
The
should.
fact that they came third is not
Th-
good
those,
enough.
No, they
those
should've.
should, those should
They should've
be
gone on the
those should be our
Yeah.
objective.
Yeah.
I mean, you write it about it all the time. When we go to those tournaments, the idea is, we are going there our way to the World Cup, our way to the Olympics. No, we are going there to win it, and because the other team, they're going to be a champion.
Yeah.
Imagine going to the Olympics as a champion.
I hear you.
You know, I hear what he's saying, and you know, to some degree, I'm on the same side.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have to give it some context.
Right.
Sure.
David Notwane leaves the country with 14 players.
Paley squad.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
with no support,
Sure.
virtually from a lot of
The big
PSL
teams,
clubs.
yeah, no, for sure.
Then of course his mandate is just to try and get an Olympic.
That is the
you
point.
know.
So which means we're good enough to
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you've got to have the support of,
And everything has to be
you
flowing
know,
towards making that happen.
SAFA PSL liaison committee
Yeah.
has to work well enough for us to say, David, you've got to win this
sure.
tournament. If you don't win this tournament,
The
surely.
problem.
Yeah.
So now Safa will celebrate. That is my problem.
Exactly.
Safa will celebrate.
Because they are saying we've done it against all odds. You know, we went. He landed in Egypt with just 14 players.
Yeah,
and
but he still managed
he
to
had
do
2
it.
players on the bench.
But they will
He's
do
still
it
going
now.
to the
They will do it now.
Olympics,
Safa
yeah.
will say, "Look at us. We
Of
produced
course.
2
They've
times.
already done it.
2
Didn't they
times
call a
women.
press conference to pat themselves on the back.
They had a press conference at the airport. Yeah.
Safa produced
A long
2
press
times.
conference at
The,
the
the,
airport.
2
Yeah.
times African Coach of the Year.
There we go.
It is
They'll
a
take the
Safa's
credit for
accolade.
that.
Yeah.
That's all. Okay, very quickly, 30 seconds each. On this last topic, Denny Jordaan wants to go for a 3rd term, currently serving his 2nd.
Give someone else a
He'll need to
chance.
change the constitution for that to be the case.
Just
30
give someone else a
seconds,
chance.
starting with you, Mur.
Please.
Look, give someone else a chance. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
But if the regions want him to carry on,
Who are we to say? You didn't even use up your whole 30 seconds. I like that. Chris.
Failure does not have an accolade.
What?
Failure does not have an
No,
accolade.
failure does not.
How does, okay, so...
Which
so
means if you give him the 3rd term,
Yeah?
you are telling him he was the greatest.
Right.
What did he do? You would
What-
tell that he made the South African youth team qualify for big tournament. Come on.
What did he do, Joti?
Can we please just give someone else a chance? I don't want to get involved in what he did necessarily. Look, please, just some new blood. in
Has he
Safa.
done enough?
No.
Okay, there we go.
No.
That's
I mean,
what I'm
we
driving
qualified. Look,
Yes.
You're
he got the World
exasperated.
Cup here, but no other African country was capable of hosting the World Cup.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, if it had gone to Morocco, half of it would have been in Spain.
Right.
Anyway, he's not. No, please, someone else. Please.
Someone else.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
Someone else, new blood, fresh ideas. Please, yeah, no. He
Okay.
can't go, but he will. He'll get a 3rd term.
Guys,
Well,
you
that's
have
fine.
That's how
like you
football
say.
works in South Africa.
Yeah.
If he wants one, he'll get it. He'll
Yeah,
Look,
if the regions are
Yeah.
backing him and he's got enough nominations,
Then it is what it is.
what it is.
So
We
they're
can
gonna change
shout-
the constitution?
We can shout top of the.
So they're gonna
you
sign the
know,
constitution
rooftop.
then?
They will.
They'll have to.
Wow.
They'll have to.
I mean, they changed it now to make sure that he did not have any challenges.
Yes.
You know, they found ways to say no. You need to belong to that LFA. You know, somehow AC Ngobo still got in there, but you know, they will adjust
creativity.
it. They will do
They will find a
anything
way.
if the regions all agree that he should stand for another term. They will change the constitution.
Okay, and on that note, it's the end of the podcast. We've just gone over slightly an hour. Thank you so much to everybody who's been tuned in, and thank you so much to my panel. Gentlemen, I'll see you in a week's time. Lots of great
Cheers.
football to see. In the meantime, stay locked on to our social media at Front Sports, at Front News. We're on YouTube. We're on your favorite podcast app. We're on Twitter. You know where to find us. Up until we meet again in a week's time, have a good one. Take care.